I'm a visual artist with a practice mostly interested in the body and its relationship to language and place. I work primarily in video and sculpture. So I've always been a very curious person, and I think what I've slowly discovered is that there are very particular fields where you can be curious and you can play, but you can play seriously. I would describe my art practice, at least more recently, as playful, as seeking a new way of imagining. As I'm playing with video, I'm playing with ideas of futurity, of the digital realm, and sort of existing in the digital realm. Over the past few exhibitions that I've been involved in, I've started to explore a fictive nation state that exists only digitally. And so I've been really excited about building up this world where this country that I'm calling La Makan, which in Arabic would translate directly into non-place. And I've been collaborating with various writers who are peers and friends based here in the UAE to think about things like the language, things like the weather, different aspects of world building that come into imagining this fictional country. This residency has been really instrumental in the recent growth and development of my practice. Moving away from working solely towards the production of a commission, working towards a very specific outcome for an exhibition, etc. Sometimes really constrains the creative process in the studio. And I think being able to be given the space, the time and the budget to just research, to just think through what is interesting to us, and to afford to be experimental without the prejudice of a final outcome has been really, really freeing. I find myself particularly engaging with young practices, both from the UAE as well as from our wider region. I think there's a lot of very similar questions that are being tackled in this part of the world that feel really pertinent actually on a global and planetary scale. I also find myself always gravitating to textual practices, so I look at writers, I look at poets, I often even look at musicians. Textual practices feed very heavily into my practice as a starting point. I think in my practice I don't often think of an art legacy as much as I think about my practice as an ongoing thing. For me, I do it because I want to do it, and I do it because I have questions, and these questions usually don't yield answers but actually yield even more questions. My hope for my practice is that it continues to be sustainable, that I still am able further in the future to just ask these questions and to interrogate them and to have conversations about them.